Gaming enthusiasts, how are you doing? Welcome back. I hope you're all having a great day and I hope you're all well. Today is a bit of an update on PL. So I mentioned in the previous Sprout video that I've finished machine polishing it now. So it's the first time it's been machine polished, but I had to do it just where it sat in the workshop while I was restoring Sprout. You just get contamination in the paintwork. So the only way to get that out properly was to machine polish it. It's looking absolutely fantastic now. It did take me quite a while to do. Just kind of went panel by panel, done it in the evenings, but it's done now. It looks fantastic. So next step with PL, I've been meaning to do this for a while, is upgrade, well not, it's kind of downgrade the stereo system in it. So pretty much ever since it was built, the first guy that owned it, who I know pretty well, put a kind of custom sound system in the car. I think he done it, had a Rockford Fosgate amp, which is quite good quality, had infinity speakers, and back in the day, back in sort of 1997, 1998, it was a nice setup to have in a Mini. It's still got that setup now, and it's just getting old. It's got a Panasonic head unit. If I'm honest, it just all sounds pretty rubbish. I'm sure it sounded much better back in the day. So there are some reasons for that. The one channel of the amp is dead. I don't know what happened. It just went quiet one day and I tested it and one channel of the amp is dead. And the actual, just the sound that comes out the head unit, it just doesn't sound that fantastic. I don't know whether it's just you get used to digital music and digital radio, etc., and you just notice the difference now, but it just doesn't sound that great. So we're going to downgrade it a little bit. I don't want a big heavy sound system in the car. I've got over the years of having banging tunes in the car, though I still do like them. I am a bit of an old, slightly getting grey and bald bass head. I do like a bit of bass, but maybe in someone else's car now, I'm quite happy to listen to it, but I don't want that big install in my car. I want something that looks discreet. So we're going to go back. So you might have seen I sort of built this head unit up out of the Philips R660 and the dead Mini one I had. So this is going to go in PL. So the dashboard will look perfectly standard. The speakers, I'll go over you in a moment and show you what's in the car. The speakers are going to stay in the car. I'm going to upgrade or renew the front speakers, but the amplifier I'm just going to get rid of now, and the board it sits on. And then I'm going to run this head unit, but I mean, even this is old technology. This isn't going to sound great. So I don't know a great deal about these things, to be honest. Let me know if you're a bit of an audiophile below. And one of my friends, Paul P Mini Build, I might ask him for a bit of help into how I can get this set up. So I want this to work. I want to be able to get in, maybe turn the radio on, and that works on the speakers. But what I do want to be able to do is get my phone out, go on to Spotify or something like that, and then via Bluetooth, somehow through this, be able to play that music on the stereo as well. I do want it to sound good. You know, I'm more into sound quality than overall sort of bass or, you know, SPL. But like I say, I do want it to sound good. So I don't quite know how I'm going to achieve that. It may well be this head unit, some sort of Bluetooth interface, and then maybe just a small quality amp just sat somewhere to do it all. I don't know. Don't really know what I'm doing. I'm sure I'll figure it out. Let me show you what's in the car though. Sorry guys, I will get on with the video, but I just had to stop for a minute. I just looked at it and just thought, oh my god, how good does it look? I've not had it cleaned and out in the sun for a while, but I do love this car. The colour is just phenomenal. It's looking beautiful now it's all cleaned up. hard to believe this car's done 105,000 miles. So we start up front with a head unit. So here's the head unit. Like I say, I'm pretty sure that's quite old now. It is a Pioneer DEH 624R. It's 35 watt by 4. Back in the day, that was probably quite a good head unit. I know it's got pre-outs on the back, so yeah, it was all sort of set up for a sort of high quality audio system. But like I say, it just sounds rubbish now. And it may be that the amplifier is rubbish, or the amplifier dying makes it sound rubbish, because it all runs through the pre-outs. So this goes to the amp, it's a 4-channel amp, and then it goes to all the speakers. So moving on to the speakers. So up front we have these custom door builds, or custom door pockets, which I did do a bit of refurbishing work on. Again, they were done a long time ago now. They're covered in leather. They're really nice. I do like them. They don't really get in the way, although they do them off feet getting in sometimes, and they run very close to the window winder, so they can be a bit of a pain like that. But I'm happy to keep them. They're nice. This is a bit of a pain, but maybe one day I'll put electric windows on it. The speakers behind the grills are Infinity component speakers. I think they're 6.5 inch. So we've got the tweeters up on the dash there. These are actually really nice speakers, and these sound pretty good, but I can't remember what, I think I split the cone on one side and I glued it back up. I'm sure I did. I'll have to check a previous video, but I've always struggled to find Infinity components to replace these. It's seems to be difficult to get Infinity speakers in the UK now. And I did want to replace them with the same speakers, but I do need to replace these, so they're up for replacement. Right, and then rear speakers, up on the parcel shelf, we've got Infinity Kappa 6x9s. These are not that old. So I bought these, and I had these in Vinny, and I swapped them over from Vinny. I think they're 4-way 6x9s. The Infinity Kappa range are pretty good, to be honest. They're not that old, and they should sound fantastic, these speakers, but they sound naff. And like I say, I think that's more down to the failing amp than the speakers themselves. So these speakers will stay. The only thing I don't like about these speakers, and again, it was done before I got the car, was obviously they've chopped up the parcel shelf to put these in, so it's not quite 100% original, but it's nearly there. And then in the boot we have the Rockford Fosgate 4-channel amp. Like I say, it's pretty old now, and it's got 2 sets of pre-outs on it, or it takes 2 sets of pre-outs, front and rear, from the head unit. And this is just going to go. It's dead. It doesn't work properly. It sounds absolutely naff. And yeah, so we're going to get this out, and we're going to, I think to begin with, I'll kind of put it back to standard. I'll put the standard head unit in, and I'll see how rubbish it sounds. Right, it's another one of those. It doesn't always go to plan. So I've been on this ages. All the interiors had to come out of the car, the carpets and everything. As you can see, we've got a right nest of wiring here. It's getting dark outside, so yeah, I've been on it all day. Put it all in. It's taking long because I want to get it. I've ripped out all of this wiring and put it all back to sort of OE as it was originally. I'm using the original plugs for the head unit, so they're not chopped about or anything like that. And I'm just about getting it done. I've got to this wiring up this offside rear speaker, which was the last speaker, and it wasn't working. Now, that's why I thought the amplifier was no good. I tested it before, the speaker was working. I tested the amplifier and the amplifier wasn't. So I don't know, I might have just missed it in testing. Maybe that amplifier's okay. I ain't putting it back in. But that might explain why it didn't sound that great. Although I'm not sure. Anyway, we're committed now. So the problem was, this block usually goes on the speaker, and that is soldered onto a printed circuit, and every time I gave that a wiggle, it started crackling. I thought it was just the wires into these block connectors, but it was actually where these backs of these are soldered onto the printed circuit board inside the speaker. I can't find how you get that printed circuit board off. So there's no hope of me. Well, this is all sort of, as you can see, it's just housed in plastic. So I don't know how that's put together. So I've basically soldered wires directly onto the printed circuit board, and then I've put some resin over the top because obviously speakers vibrate and that sort of thing. So hopefully that does work now. I've tested it, but that could have been a problem all along. Right, I think I'm going to call it quits for the evening. I'm well and truly goosed, but we've got the mini head unit in there. All the wiring behind there is back about as original as it can be on the original plugs which go into the back of the head unit. So neatened all that up. It sounds fine, all the speakers are working, they're all in phase. But I am just goosed. It's 9:30 at night now. I've been on this all day since about 12 o'clock. I've got to get all the interior back in and just generally have a good tidy up. Like I say, it's one of those things, it doesn't always go to plan. The more I think about it, I think that amp's probably okay, but I'm not bothered. I did want to get that head unit out. I did want to get the mini head unit in. I was pretty aware. I mean, this is the wiring that come out. I mean, it's just a mess. It's been, you know, I can't criticise because years ago I used to do this sort of thing with head units, twist wires together and use Scotch blocks, and I mean even these connectors I very rarely ever use these now. They're crap. I don't like them. I use decent quality ones with heatsink on them now if I'm going to join a wire, with proper crimps as well. So yeah, what do? I can test that amp. That's easy. I've got a head unit, I've got an amp, I just need to find a speaker. I can test that. If it's still good, I don't know what I'll do with it. Stick it on eBay maybe. It's a Rockford Fosgate 4.6X, whatever that is. I remember when I spoke to Paul P, he said that was quite a good edge unit back, or quite a good amplifier back in the day. And it's got little chips inside that you can turn around to make it so you can drive a subwoofer off it and a couple of speakers as well. So yeah, let the midnight fairies come in, get all this tidied up, and get the car put back together. Right, so after a bit of a tidy up, that's what we're left with. That's all the wiring that's come out the car. So as you can see, it's a bit of a bird's nest. I think, to be honest, most of this is just, I'll just chuck it away now. It's years and years old. Probably not good for much. The RCA cables, I mean, these ones, like it's black here where it runs. It was run over the top of where the catalytic converter is, so it gets quite warm there. Don't know what I'm going to do with a head unit and amp. I will test the amp. I'm pretty confident though it wasn't that speaker, because I tested the amp over and over again, just trying each channel on a known good speaker, and it definitely wasn't working. So yeah, I think that's just coincidental, but you never know. I'm going to test it anyway. Let's have a look inside the car now. Right, so I'm sure it will come as no surprise to you guys. I'm pretty OCD with my wiring. I cannot stand it when you pull a head unit out and there's just a big bundle of wires behind there. So we've got this all neatened up and tidied now. It's back to the sort of original wiring plugs, which would have been on the original harness with the correct amount of wires as well. So it's just much neater and tidier like that. And like beforehand, it's always a nightmare when you pull a head unit out and you're just fighting with wires. So let's get that head unit put in. The only thing I haven't got is the cage. So the cage off that old head unit doesn't fit the mini head unit, so I need to get another cage, but the head unit on its own fits in there reasonably snugly, so I'll just push it in the hole for the moment. I'm sure if I accelerate hard it might come out. Right, so there we go. I've got to admit, it does look nice with the mini head unit. I do like that. It looks better than an aftermarket one. And I'll be honest, it sounds really good. I'm surprised. Obviously, it's got upgraded speakers, so it's got 6.5-inch components in the front. They're good quality Infinities, although I'm sure one of them I've repaired, and obviously Infinity 6x9's in the back. But for the standard head unit, it sounds really, really good. It's got quite punchy bass. Obviously, I can't play it because of YouTube copyright, but it sounds really good. And I just remember cars of this sort of era. You know, cars nowadays, when you buy them, the stereos that come in them are generally pretty good. People don't replace stereos like they used to in the old days. The stereos are built into the infotainment system on the car, but the actual speakers are much, much better than they were years ago. I think manufacturers probably just fitted the cheapest speakers they could get hold of. So standard cars, the stereos used to sound pretty rubbish. And before you've done anything like put an amplifier in or anything like that, if you just changed out the speakers for some good quality aftermarket ones, all of a sudden it just sounded much, much better, which is the case here. To the point, I don't think it needs upgrading any more than it is now. It sounds fantastic as it is. Yes, it does distort a bit when you turn it right up. It's loud enough for me though. Like I say, my bass edge ears are over. So the only thing I need to do now is somehow get Bluetooth working on this setup. So if you've got any ideas, drop a comment in the description down below and let me know. I do have one idea which I saw looking through some videos last night, and that was where someone took the head unit apart and they got a Bluetooth adapter. So you can buy Bluetooth adapters, they're quite reasonably cheap. They're just little boxes and you plumb them into the stereo system. Well, because this has got no auxiliary or anything like that, I saw a video on YouTube where someone had converted the head unit by basically taking out the tape player and using the tape player channel as the Bluetooth channel. So where the tape player has a pickup in the side which reads obviously what's on the tape, they managed to get power from inside the head unit, and they plumbed in the output of the Bluetooth receiver into the kind of input of that tape player reader, so that when you put it on tape, it was in effect playing what was ever being streamed through on Bluetooth. That seems like a great idea, and I might give that a go. The tape player does work in this, but who has tapes nowadays, to be honest? And they sound really naff tapes. When you're used to CDs and digital audio, tapes are just awful. So I hope you enjoyed this video this week. Just a bit of an update on PAL really. Give it a thumbs up if you did like it. If you've got any comments or suggestions, stick them in the comment section down below, and I'll be back again soon. Thanks, bye.